Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review and demo of two of the latest base products by Urban Decay, which is the Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation as well as the Stay Naked Correcting Concealer. So I have bought both of these. I've worn these quite a few times. So starting off with the foundation itself, it comes in 50 shades, which is amazing. And just to break your hearts, for those of you that do not know this, I'm sorry, but I have been told that this will be replacing the Naked Skin Foundation by Urban Decay. I actually went in store to Urban Decay so that I could get color matched. For those of you that aren't aware at the moment, while the foundation is still new, if you go into any freestanding store by Urban Decay, they will give you little samples, and each sample contains up to at least 3 days worth of wear. So it's excellent if you're unsure about your shade, your tone, because obviously the shade range is fairly large. And what I found helpful was that I mentioned my shade in the Naked Skin foundation to the makeup artist, and then she was able to kind of guesstimate what my shade was. So this retails at $29.50 and it comes in this box here, and then inside this is what the actual bottle itself looks like. I actually really like this container they've got. It's in a plastic bottle and it's got like this indented bit, which is a little bit odd, and then you open it up and then you've got a nice easy to use pump. It contains 30 ml of product, which is quite standard throughout the foundation ranges. 30 ml is like the standard amount that most brands give. And the reason that they said that they were replacing the Naked Skin one with this one is because this is a similar foundation, but it's been reformulated to be obviously a lot better with a much larger choice of shades. So let me just read what they say off of their website, because I actually bought mine direct from Urban Decay, student discount, plus I had like a 20% off voucher, so I actually got my stuff quite decently priced. So it says it's a vegan formula buildable medium coverage foundation with a real skin matte finish that lasts up to 24 hours. We designed this lineup of 50 shades with 9 shade intensities, 3 master tones and 7 undertones to dial in your precise color match. That's almost unheard of, a master tone and an undertone. Our waterproof long wear foundation feels like wearing nothing thanks to a flexible formula that feels breathable and moves with you all day and night up to 24 hours. It not only feels better, it even looks better with its Stay True color, which minimizes the appearance of pores so you always look like you. Now, when talking about their master tones and their undertones, I'll give you an example of mine because they actually place it on the top of the box, which is really handy. So for reference, my shade is 51WY. This, by the way, is a perfect match for my skin tone. I actually tried 2 or 3 shades, but this one literally melted into my skin as a perfect match. Considering I've got a slight tan at the moment, that doesn't worry me too much, because it means in the winter I might just need to lighten it slightly or maybe go down a shade. But from what I could see in my tone range, this is the only one that would work well for me. Even if I was to get lighter or darker, there still wouldn't be one which is perfect. So it says that my master tone is warm, which is correct. I've got very warm undertones. If you were to look on their website, it's all CNW. I don't know what O means. Olive. I think that means olive actually. So C would be cool. These are the master tones, by the way. C is cool, W is warm, O is olive, and N is obviously neutral. But the thing is, there are so many people out there that have got like warm olive undertones and cool olive undertones, and it can be very difficult. So I actually really like that Urban Decay have broken it down in such a way that it will make it a lot more easier for you to buy, even if you were to only be able to buy it online. And then my undertone is yellow, so that is the reason why my shade is 51WY, and it says it's got medium shade intensity. But either way, that is the way that I was able to determine what my shade was, because the one up from that is 51NN, so that would be neutral. And then the next warm toned shade for me would be 60YW. So there is a very big gap in between. So it wouldn't really work for me. For reference, in MAC, I am in the shade NC40. And in the Naked Skin, I think I'm in between 6 or 7. I can't remember. It's been such a long time and I don't really use it anymore. Now, after reading to you what their claims are, I've got my own notes as to what my claims are. So I've written that it has a lightweight application. It blends easily and seamlessly. It does slightly transfer. So for them to actually have it on the box, that says does not transfer would already give it -1 point, because it does. Doesn't need to be set, but separated only on my forehead slightly. Again, that would be that area here, and that's because I generally tend to wear concealer around here because of how I do my eyebrows. But I wore it with primer and without primer. Naturally matte skin-like finish, soft focus finish, blurs pores, great color range, medium to buildable coverage, waterproof as in rainproof, because I did get rained on, torrential rain by the way. It wasn't like spitty London rain, it was like tropical London rain, which is how it is at the moment. It's weird. And it held up well in moderate humidity. My hair didn't, I wrote in brackets. Excellent foundation, and overall I give this a 9 out of 10. It's absolutely excellent. Like I said, the only reason it don't get a 10 is because you said it was transfer proof, and it does transfer, and that is whether I've got powder on my face after I've set it or without powder. I wore it with primer, without primer, with powder, without powder, and it still worked exactly the same. So in that respect, I think it's an absolutely excellent foundation, because there are so many out there that really do need to be set to stop them moving around on the face. It did not oxidize, it stays true to color. I absolutely love it. It's an excellent foundation that I think will work well with all skin types, whether you've got dry skin, combination skin like I have, or oily skin. But obviously bear in mind, depending on what your skin type is, you know what other additional products you should or should not use. If you've got really oily skin, you already know you should use a mattifying primer and you should use a mattifying powder on top. Now I tend to just alternate depending on what I've got lying around at the time. Now for today I'm going to be using my Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Skin Perfecting Primer by Too Faced. It's a mattifying primer basically. It is Eid today while I'm filming this, before I go off and do my Eid stuff, which is why I'm all a bit dressed up. And it is kind of humid as well today, which is why I want to use a mattifying primer. I actually really like this primer. I bought this when I was in New York last year and I forgot I had the box, because this is obviously a tiny version. But I completely forgot I have it. I love this whole Peach Perfect mattifying range. Is absolutely excellent. Alright, so now that that is done, and while that just settles on the face, the brush that I'm going to be using today is the Morphe M349 Deluxe Buffer Brush. You guys know that I use this quite a lot with my liquid foundations. This one has got a medium sort of consistency. You can choose to use it with a brush like this, or something which is not as dense, maybe something a little bit more tapered, or you can always use your beauty sponge. It's completely up to you. Bear in mind, when you use a damp beauty sponge, you are going to be soaking some of the product into your sponge, and therefore it will shear it out on your face. So if you are looking for that medium to buildable coverage look, I would definitely prefer using a brush over a beauty blender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 small pumps and apply that to both sides of my face and then smush it around. It does really squirt out quite fast, so be careful. Okay, so this is just on half of my face, just so that you can see how it works. Do you see the way it just literally glided and blended into my skin? The colour is so perfect, I can't even explain. You can't even see the line where my natural skin meets to where the foundation does. I love this shade. But this is how it looks with one layer. You've got medium coverage and it is buildable. So I'm just going to do the rest of my face just so that you can see what it looks like overall with my entire face covered. Okay, so that's with one layer all over my face. It hasn't got a pleasant smell to it, but I can't describe it. It's not perfumed, but it's got a very kind of chemically scent to it. But it definitely glides across the skin very, very nicely. It is, the texture of it, like it literally squirts out of here. You've got to be quite careful that it doesn't squirt onto your clothes, because it's got a runny-ish texture, but not too runny. But runny also means that it will glide across more of your face than something which is quite thick and you have to really drag it. So that is one good thing about this. But here is how it looks. I've got a slight bit of eczema right here that's been there for a few weeks now. It's annoying, but it doesn't like emphasize it too much. It definitely does not stick to any dry skin you've got on your face. It almost blends it into your face, so you can't really see it. So this is one layer, and because I have got textured skin, I've also got marks, hyperpigmentation, scarring, that sort of thing. I don't find that this foundation accentuates the texture, which I love. It almost blurs it out, and it does not emphasize any fine lines. I don't actually have any fine lines, so I don't know why I said that, but it doesn't like create any lines, which some foundations can do. So what I'm going to do is just on those problem areas of mine which are right here, which is where I've got most of my redness and most of my scarring. I'm just putting a really tiny amount just to give it a little bit of extra, like literally like a tiny blob. And I am just going to push it into my skin. And it actually has this really weird cooling effect. I don't know if it's because I'm just feeling really hot, but when I apply it, it feels quite cool. And another thing I have to say is that it definitely wore well throughout the day. I can't say whether it lasts 24 hours. I don't often wear my foundation for that long. I don't think I ever have, unless I've been traveling and I've stupidly left it on my face. But I didn't see any actual shininess appear until at least hour 16, which is amazing considering it's the summer. And even when I did start to look shiny, it was more like a glow rather than sweat. So I was able to get away with it for a really long time. It doesn't move around on the face either. Considering of how humid it's been in London over the past couple of weeks, I didn't find that it moved or created any issues. This is definitely for me something that is going to be a holy grail foundation. Now I'm going to move on to the concealer now before I set the rest of my face. But any setting powder will do. But obviously next you have to do your concealer before you start to set other things. So let's move on to this now. So this concealer costs a whopping £20. Well, when you think this is £29.50, this is £20, you're like, does that really match up? Like £29.50 is fine for that, but I would have said that this is worth at least £15, but not 20, but hey ho, I bought it anyway. So this comes in a massive range of 25 shades. And again, this is to replace the Naked Skin Concealer, for those of you that don't know. The shade that I bought mine in is 50YW, which makes sense because this shade is 51YW. So I've obviously got warm yellow undertones. And again, it comes in cool, neutral, olive, as well as warm, and 50YW is the one that is meant to go with that foundation. Now this one is slightly brightening on me, which is absolutely perfect, exactly what I needed, and it is the perfect shade for me. I can't remember what my shade is in the Naked Skin one, but I do remember always having to mix 2 shades. Even with the all-nighter one, I have to always mix 2 shades, which is why I love that they have finally come out with a large enough range that there will be no people that are mixed off or have to waste additional money by having to buy 2 shades. This is one of the reasons why I've never actually invested that much in the Urban Decay ranges, especially their concealers, because I've always had to buy 2, and I'm sorry, but ain't no one rich around here. So this is what the container looks like. It's in a plastic casing. One of the weirdest looking doe foot applicators I've ever seen. I mean, it's got a bit of a too much of a dent, like a curve in it, like that. Like, whose eye is like that? I don't understand. Anyway, it doesn't really bother me that much. This is just to show you guys how it looks. And inside it is 0.35 ounces, which is 10.2 grams. Not the largest amount by any means, but also I'd call it probably mid-range if I compare it to all the other concealers that I have. Now let me just read to you what their claims are after the additional 25 shades, which I've already mentioned. It says this is a vegan, demi-matte and flexible liquid concealer with 25% more pigment and full coverage that lasts up to 24 hours. With an expanded range of 25 shades, there's enough coverage to go around. Our Naked concealer lineup features 9 shade intensities, 3 master tones and 5 undertones. This works for just about anything from covering imperfections to highlighting cheekbones. The patented wave tip applicator makes it easy to get the right level of coverage. Use the flat size for precise light application, or lean into the curve for smooth glide and blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, well that's their justification for it, whatever. Take from that what you want. So it's got 25% more pigment, which I have to agree with. I mean, this is a demi-matte full coverage concealer, and I would 100% agree with all of the claims that they have made. Definitely very, very pigmented. A little bit goes such a long way. It is demi-matte, meaning that it's not completely matte, so it looks natural under the eyes, because nobody's natural skin is completely matte. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you if there is. It does need to be set. However, in regards to creasing, I would definitely say it's not one that creases immediately. But if you want your concealer to last, you have to set it. It is a liquid product at the end of the day, and you will start to crease just naturally. That's just how it works. It also does not crepe under the eyes. It doesn't look drying, and that's because it's demi-matte rather than completely matte. It literally covers up all the darkness under my eyes. It makes it look bright. It makes me look awake. It stays beautiful. It doesn't go patchy. It doesn't oxidize. It doesn't look uneven. And it definitely, like it says, gives a real skin matte finish. So I personally give this a 10 out of 10. This has now joined my holy grail selection of concealers. I absolutely love it. I actually think there is a chance that I love it more than my all-nighter one. I'm not sure yet. Maybe. But so far, so good. I think that it's absolutely excellent. So many of you will love this. Now, I tend to not use this on my face because I always believe that a foundation should be good enough to do the job of the concealer on the face. I don't like to add additional products where I don't need to. So I'm only going to be doing this under my eyes and on the high points of my face just to show you guys how it works. Now, to set it, I'm going to be using my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in the shade Banana Bread. To be honest, this shade here is a little bit light for me. I would, if you do want to use a Huda Beauty one like I do, use the shade up from this, which is Blondie. That's the one that I was using before. So don't worry necessarily about the shade that I'm using. I'm just letting you guys know that I'm going to use it up. So I'm going to be using a damp Real Techniques beauty sponge, and I'm going to blend this all out. Just blending around the edges slightly because my damp beauty blender ain't that damp. I lied to you. So there we go. This is how it looks before it's been set. I love it. I love how brightening this one is, and especially because it's got the right undertones for my skin tone, and this foundation in particular means that it does what it's supposed to do in brightening and highlighting and that sort of thing. So let me just set this now. Right, and there we have that. Now I'm going to set my foundation using my Nabla Close Up Smoothing Pressed Powder. My shade is in medium. This is my favourite setting powder at the moment, so much so that I've hit pan. So there we have it. I have got the foundation and the concealer on. My face feels so soft and smooth. My under eyes look lovely. There's no creases. There's no settling. There's nothing like that. It just looks smooth, full coverage. Everything is completely covered. Absolutely love it. I'm just going to finish off the rest of my makeup and come back just so that you can see what it looks like all complete and finished. Okay, so I'm back. The face is done. Makeup is done. Hair is done. Earrings are in. I am all ready to go for the rest of my either day. Now the foundation, it feels so lovely and soft. I've had it on my face for about 45 minutes now because I kind of disappeared off to greet people and stuff before I came back in here. Dedication to the channel, people. Yeah, so look at how it looks. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It feels lovely. It's settled nicely on the skin. There's no shininess. There's no illumination, even though I feel slightly hot. The concealer looks amazing under the eyes. It's really settled nicely. There's no creasing, there's no moving around, and it blends seamlessly from the concealer into the foundation beautifully. So it's nicely illuminated without it being over the top. Just for reference, I'm wearing on my lips Stila's Palermo Stay All Day liquid lipstick with emboldened Glitterati, just patted on the top with some fingers so that I could get that little bit of glitz. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are of the foundation as well as the concealer. Are you going to get it? Are you thinking about getting it? Or are you a die-hard naked skin person? If you are, better start stocking up, my friends. Anyway, on that note, I'll see you all soon. Bye.